The medals have been given out. But there's still one big race to come, and that is happening on November 5th, if I remember the date correctly. We are less than 85 days away from what could be a global changer. And as I did the other day, in this corner, we have Donald Trump, a vilified man, someone who was convicted as a criminal, someone who the world views as statements from the guy who's going to threaten democracy to the next Hitler. Statements, words, emotions, feelings that don't describe a president, describes a misguided feeling. But on the other hand, and here's the other hand, in a two-party system, you have a vice president who's decided to run for president, was given the nomination right off the bat without any real voting process that no one's talking about, that the press is coronated as the greatest thing since sliced bread after wondering what's wrong with her. And here she's getting a free pass of 22 days of not having spoken to the press for a press conference to tell us how she really feels. Folks, welcome back. This is the Rant Network, hosted by Stuart Brisgell to my left. I'm David Solomon on the right here on your screen. We bring you this unedited, unfiltered, and uncensored conversation. We broadcast noon, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We record this. We launch this. We don't edit anything. You'll hear boops, blips, arguments, conversations, comments, and that is what you get. One shot, one opinion. And that's exactly what this is, a platform to express opinions. We share thoughts, experiences, ideas, and hear from a variety of perspectives, from the people we've spoken to, the people who've communicated with us, from politicians to the everyday person. We dive into the news, pop culture, and so much more. So the rants are always about the modern life, absurdity, discussions, deep issues that affect society. Folks, sit back on this one, because this one, I'm confused. And Stuart, I'll tell you why I'm confused. The confusion for me is really simple. How is it not obvious to the average American that Kamala Harris is given the biggest mulligan in the world? She had a ruinous 2019-2020 presidential, 2019-2020 presidential run. She was taken as a DEI candidate by Joe Biden, although everybody will say that's not fair, because we're trying to figure out what merit she had other than her physical appearance. And now she's running for president, where her record in California, her record in life, her record, Josh Shapiro, Stuart, at 20 years old, wrote a paper and lost the chance to be VP of the United States. But Kamala Harris's whole entire record is foreboding. Stuart, are we ever going to hear the real Kamala Harris or the copy, paste Kamala Harris?
I wonder if you can hear this.
No.
You can't hear that? No? Let me do some funny presentation, because I really think at this point I have to go down this road. And I have to add this soundbite. And it's just really. You hear that now?
Sorry, we do not hear anything. Sorry, my friend, you should have been more prepared. Next.
Okay. So the reason why I shared that sound, or tried to, was the sound of a cricket. Jiminy Cricket. The biggest loser of the 2020 election run for Democratic nominee was Kamala Harris. Her views, her points, her record were not only as scathing as a pig with lipstick, but they continued when she got picked as a VP, because the VP was selected for being the least qualified candidate to upstage Joe Biden. Because who in the world would pick the worst candidate to be president of the United States? Well, it seems that Nancy Pelosi, Barack Obama, and the entire Democratic Party think now that Biden has been eviscerated by the illustrious Donald J. Trump, by showing how much of an old, feeble man he is, and that he doesn't have the fortitude to stand up to a debate with a man, nevertheless couldn't argue with a foreign leader, no, please don't take my house away. You're not playing Monopoly. You're playing real life war, whether you call it stratego, risk. I mean, the world today isn't what it was when David and I were a kid. Well, maybe it was, because then we had the Soviet Union threatening to lob bombs on American and world heads. It's called the Cold War. Shilling had nothing to do with global warming or the Ice Age. But today, Kamala Harris's points are being argued by the media. Now, I don't know about you, but I think it's time we wiped out the free press from advertising points that don't exist. I love these commentators, or we'll call them TV evangelists, that claim to say that, oh, she's going to be the best. Oh, her views are the best. When herself have absolutely zero on her website about what her policies are, because clearly she hasn't explained the policy she's represented. Every news agency in the world has called her the border czar. And she wore that medal on her chest like a proud person who never went to the border. In fact, she never gave a comprehensive speech. In fact, all you heard was a hyena or a lipstick pig with lipstick. Now, why am I using a pig with lipstick? Because everyone is saying how she is the almighty, the calling, the beckon reckoning of Donald Trump, and that she is the only candidate on the planet that could protect your freedom. Frankly, the woman has proselytized herself about taking away your freedom. She has taken away the rights and freedoms of how many people in San Francisco? And did she not go after law enforcement, took a knee in the what? Washington, D.C.? This is a person who cow tips to fanatics. Her hatred towards Israel and the Jews is beyond reproach. And their argument that her husband is Jewish, you know what? If you recall any history of World War II, and David hates when I bring this up, there were Jews informing on Jews because they hated themselves. Today, you have the George Soroses of the world, Jews that hate Jews. It's not uncommon. It's like you have Christians that hate Christians, like Muslims that hate Muslims. It is normal. And Kamala Harris and her husband are two of the biggest anti-Semites in politics today. In fact, they're denying it is more absurd because their policies, their platform, and their position has always been pro-anti-Israel. Now, listen, there are even Jews that hate Israel. That's okay too. And I'm okay with that. But you know what I'm not okay with? I'm not okay with a soon-to-be sitting non-elected to be president for the United States of America. And this woman, clearly, who hasn't taken questions of the free press by the free press, as every other candidate in history. I think Jefferson was that was the only one in the 1800s that was not in that mix. But for almost 200 years, there hasn't been a candidate that's gone unmeasured and unmetered. And this woman, the hyena, the lipstick pig wearing person, who once claims she's one thing and then flip-flops to another. She doesn't know if she's Indian or mulatto. She doesn't know if she grew up in Canada or she's all American. She doesn't know if her husband is Jewish or an anti-Jew. We don't know. We don't even know what she eats for breakfast. All we know is she's a pant-wearing suit person who likes to take every progressive, socialist, communist view than someone who would be a likely president of the greatest country on this earth. David, I ranted for 9 minutes. Where are you?
Well, I'm here, and I've been listening to you very quietly because I'll tell you something. One of the things that is just frightening what you just said here is she's likely to become the president of the United States. Not on merit, not on policy, on hype. Stuart, it's pure hype. And the United States is all about hype. If you watch the Olympics on NBC, you wouldn't have known if an athlete won or lost because of the hype behind every American athlete. And that is what the media has done for Kamala Harris. It doesn't matter what her merits are, what she stands for. It's all about making sure Donald Trump doesn't get into the White House. So lie, cheat, distort. It's fascinating. When Donald Trump held his Mar-a-Lago press conference, the press vilified him. You know why, Stuart? Because he's press hungry. Like he always chases the press. The man gave what the press wanted. Sound bites, opportunities to fact check him, opportunities. And what does NBC do? We should be broadcasting him. We didn't learn anything. We should not be broadcasting Donald Trump because he lies when he opens up his mouth. And I'm thinking, wow, isn't that interesting? It's only when a conservative speaks is that you're ready to censor. But a Kamala Harris doesn't get censored. A Kamala Harris cannot, in any way, shape, or form, get the treatment. There's no equal treatment when it comes to these candidates. Kamala Harris could do no wrong. She stays quiet. She took 70 some seconds worth of not questions, but she addressed the press for 70 seconds last week. And everybody goes, you see, she's good. She'll give an interview. It's okay. They bitched about Biden not giving press conferences and addressing the media. Now, Stuart, I'm amazed here because while she is running for president, they're really pushing the narrative that she is all about democracy. And she frightens me. Because if she's truly about democracy, where are your policies? It's interesting. Last week, Donald Trump says he doesn't want to tax tips. What does Kamala Harris do? Say, neither do I.
Yep.
The press made it sound like it was her idea. Trump came first, but it was her idea.
Yeah, David, I'm less likely to give a shit about that because you know what? A good policy is a good policy.
No, Stuart, I'll tell you why. Because you're distorting the facts.
No, but you're missing the point. Kamala Harris says, I don't want to tax tips. But you want to know something? She hasn't proposed any way in which to do it.
Like I was trying to get at, if you don't mind. The reason I brought that up was that on Saturday, on the weekend, while watching the Olympics, we got this feed out of Massachusetts. There is a commercial for Kamala Harris. And the commercial is that Kamala Harris is for the middle class and Trump is only to tax billionaires to help his billionaire friends. And the point I'm trying to get at is that here was Donald Trump bringing out a policy that benefits the everyday person who's working a, minimum wage job, but she goes unfact-checked. And this is exactly what I'm trying to say. The media is propping her on lies, is propping her on propaganda.
That's the Democratic way. Obama's run around with millionaires and billionaires who himself has made himself a multi-zillionaire.
Oh, by the way, who did Joe Biden have? Who did Joe Biden have at one of his fundraisers? Do you remember that a few months ago? Oh, they were all celebrities and multimillionaires.
Where the millionaires?
You know what?
They don't count.
They don't count. Okay, so here it is. So this is what's about to happen. The United States does not have a good candidate. We understand that. I've spoken about that to numerous Americans in the last couple of days. So I asked them, so what are you going to do? Are you voting for someone or against someone? And if you're going to vote for Kamala Harris or against Donald Trump, just think about what you're getting. Okay? He brought in a VP that has zero problem. Again, this is a party that has politicized abortion, gender affirmation, race, identity politics. This is the power. This is the party that brought that in. Not reconciliation like Joe Biden said in 2021, not unity like he said in 2021, just greater divisive policies. And it's always the same thing. If the Democrats say something, then the Republicans are against us and are against democracy. There is this, and the media runs with it. And as a result, to quote Sean Hannity, which is rare, MSDNC, as he likes to call them, all right, the MSNBC is like the Democratic National Convention's committee's mouthpiece. You're going to elect someone without knowing what she stands for. You're going to elect someone on hype. Okay? And people said that about Obama. And we didn't learn anything for 8 years. What Obama said and Obama delivered, come on. What Joe Biden said and what he delivered, come on. Hate Trump all you want. And believe you me, we don't like this man. But he delivered things. I want to know what Biden did in 3.5 years. They called it Bidenomics that Harris ran around screaming about. Then they just took the name away. The Build Back a Better America program, gone. Everything gone. And Jean-Pierre, the press secretary, Jean-Karine Pierre, she stands up there and says, best president ever. Done most of things. Pelosi wants him on Mount Rushmore. Do you not hear the hype? No substance. So Stewart's lipstick on a pig analogy, which is one of my favorite expressions of all time. Folks, you can put as much lipstick on this pig. It's still a pig. Stewart, last word to you, my friend.
Last word is we've gone over. David, you know what? Like you tried stealing my phrase, lipstick on a pig, pig with lipstick. At the end of the day, her and her running mate are both needing to have their backgrounds, history, voting, and life sanitized for all of their woes, while the dirty laundry of the former president, who you're right, we're not a big fan of, but I'll tell you something. The man put money in every American's pocketbook. Yes, maybe he put money in the millionaires and billionaires, but he put money in my pocket, David. He put money in all of my friends. I'm not a millionaire and billionaire last time I checked my bank account.
Stuart, I got to tell you, you know what blows my mind, Stuart, is that everybody I spoke to who owned a business, an entrepreneur, said that tax break was phenomenal. And yet it's all the DNC wants to focus on is how it benefited billionaires. That's the distortion, people. Please, we're asking you and begging you, the same way we're digging into facts, do the same. Don't vote in 85 odd days based on hype. There's too much hype. Look at the 3 policies that is the most important to you and ask yourself, which of these 2 candidates is going to give you what you need? Because frankly, for me, if I were able to vote today, I'd be petrified to try to vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Maltz. And on that note, folks, we're done for today's episode because Stuart hates when I go over. We hope you enjoyed this conversation, gained some valuable insights. We appreciate the support you've given us. We'll be back here on Wednesday on Hump Day to go over another one of those crazy topics. We're all over social and therantnetwork.com. Please check it out. And on that note, folks,